Welcome back to PD for the Soul, the podcast that nourishes the heart of your practice one episode at a time. I'm your host, Lanisha, and you've made it to season 2. Whether you're catching your breath after a long school year, reflecting on what worked and what didn't, or already dreaming up ways to re-engage with joy and purpose, this space is for you, my friend. This season, we're leaning into capacity and action, what it means to build, protect, and sustain the energy and clarity needed to show up fully for our students and ourselves. Can't forget about that part. You will hear honest conversations with educators who are doing the work, solo episodes that connect practice to purpose, and journal prompts designed to help you move from insight to impact. So if you're ready to reset, reconnect, and reimagine what's possible for your students and your own growth, let's breathe, let's listen, and let's learn together. This is PD for the Soul. Let's begin. Hey there, educators. Welcome back to the show. Last week, we talked about work-life harmony with Carmen, and if there's one thing I hope you carried forward, it's this. Failure is feedback. She dropped the mic on us with that one. That truth doesn't stop at how we teach. It includes how we live, how we rest, and how we recover. Today's episode is called Permission to Pause, and honestly, it's a moment we don't give ourselves enough in education. We're trained to go, to push through, to keep showing up even when we are depleted. But now, the school year is over. That email ping has quieted, or you quieted it. The lesson plans are paused, the hallways are still, and for the first time in months, you have space. Space to breathe, space to be. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about rest, and not just time off, but true restoration. And we're going to be clear. We're going to name it. Teachers deserve to rest. Not just because the school year is over, because it's summertime. No, because of what the school year asks of us. Decision after decision, moment after moment. Did y'all know that research shows that the average teacher makes about 1,500 decisions a day? They're saying, the Google streets are saying that's more than brain surgeons, CEOs, or emergency responders. So you know what I'm thinking, right? Like, where's the money? Okay, where's the money? And those decisions aren't just academic decisions. We're talking about discipline. We're talking about tone, pacing, inclusion, response, redirection, encouragement, and emotional support. You manage emotions that aren't yours. Yeah, you carry burdens you didn't ask for. And you do it in rooms that rarely pause long enough for you to breathe. So yes, you deserve to rest. Not just sleep, but a real pause from urgency, a moment to exhale, to release what you've been holding in all year, to let quiet come in and fill the spaces where constant noise used to be. Rest is not a luxury. It's not a reward for meeting unrealistic expectations. It's a requirement, my friend, for sustainability. It's how we come back whole. I remember when I first entered education, and I talked about this on the previous show, where I came into the classroom, I met my students, and the level of unfinished learning was bewildering to me. Like I didn't understand it because those were not the type of classrooms that I was in whenever I was growing up. So I was just so surprised that it wasn't a single class that was this way. It was nearly all my classes filled with students who were struggling with grade level content. And I taught a class of honors math 1. So if the students are struggling with grade level content in there, then you can about imagine what the general ed classes are looking like, right? So anyway, I just remember spending so much time just researching, reading, talking to people, finding whatever I could that would allow me to show up for those kids in the way that I felt like I needed to show up for them. Okay. And it was hard because you're looking at trying to support students who have several years of unfinished learning. As a new teacher, I was not prepared to meet them kids where they were, to bring them to grade level. I mean, I'm just being honest with you. I wasn't prepared. I was figuring it out. What they say, you build the plane as you fly it, which is crazy. Okay. Because how's a plane even flying if it ain't built yet? But that's what I was doing. If that's what we're doing, that's what I was doing. Okay. And I don't necessarily feel like I did a great job, right? Because I didn't know what I was doing. But I will tell you that I gave the best effort I could. Okay. I put in everything I possibly could, but you just don't know what you don't know. And in those moments where you're trying to be the best, where you're trying to do for kids who may be, and I don't like to necessarily use the term behind, but it is what it is. When you're trying to support those kids, there's so much that they need in the moment that the moment might not even have time for, that I wasn't even prepared for. So it was not realistic for me to beat myself up about it. It wasn't realistic for me to overwhelm myself, allow myself to be frustrated, to allow myself not to rest, to not give myself permission to rest. It wasn't fair to me for that. Okay. I couldn't see it then. I can see it now. Definitely could not see it then. My mom had to tell me, my peers had to tell me, girl, you got to slow down. You're going to burn yourself out. Okay. So when I think about what rest is for me, rest feels quiet. The school year is loud. It's loud with deadlines. It's loud with decisions and discipline, loud with hallway noise, classroom management, parent emails, team meetings, interventions, all of it is loud. And then May gets here, or June, and then it's gone, right? Rest to me is the absence of that noise. It's the absence of anxiety. And at times it even feels weightless. Like adequacy, like enoughness. Like I'm not being asked to be anything else but who I am right here in this moment. I wonder what rest feels like for you. Not just sleep, not just sitting still, but actual embodied rest. Where do you feel it? And what makes it hard to reach? Now, I want to dig a little bit deeper and think about the fact that rest doesn't come easy when your nervous system has been running all year like a train with no brakes. What the young folks say, all gas, no brakes. And the truth is, how we organize and operate during the school year determines how deeply we can rest in the summer. I'm supposed to be resting right now. And I'm telling you guys this, but I'm also telling myself, okay? If we are scattered during the year, rest feels incomplete, like we can't get enough of it, okay? If our boundaries were thin during the school year, rest feels like something we had to earn versus something that we deserve. And I need you to understand, coming from somebody who operated in this way, where my boundaries were thin, where I felt like I always had to say yes, because that yes may have been the game changer for one of those students, hopefully several of those students. Okay. You are not working to earn your right or your permission to rest. You deserve it. Okay. But check this though. It's not our fault that we feel this way. It's not my fault that I felt that way. Okay. It's a feature of the system that we work in. And it's one you have permission to step outside of. It's one that I have permission. I had to give myself permission, and I have to keep giving myself permission to step out of, especially now. Okay. Rest is not idle. Okay. Let's not think that is the case either. Rest is not idle. It's not lazy. It's not wasted time. It's not something that only comes after you've hit your limit. It's not something that comes after you've been burnt out, right? Like you're sick, you're in the hospital. No, the time to rest was before that, right? Rest is an act of wisdom because you're so in tune, you know what to do and when you need to do it, right? For yourself, for your body. Rest is preparation. Rest is the clarity before the creativity. When it is difficult for me to make decisions or for me to, be creative or come up with ideas, because I'm a visionary, so I can come up with ideas. If it's difficult for me to, then I know I need to rest. Like I know I need some time to just breathe. I just need some space to myself. I need the quiet. Okay. And sometimes resting is the most productive thing that you can do. No matter how long your to-do list is, sometimes resting is the most productive thing that you can do. Okay. And I'm thinking back to a previous boss of mine who, at the end of my time at that particular place of work, I was not particularly fond of because I felt like I was doing so much and he was getting all the money. But he used to say, you got to slow down sometime to speed up. So when we're thinking about rest being productive, yeah, you may feel like, oh my God, I have so many things that I have to do. Okay, yeah, you do. But guess what? If you do them in a state where you're not rested, where you're strapped very thin, okay, where there's so much that you need, yet you're still trying to give, I don't know if the quality of whatever is on your to-do list that has to be done, I don't really know if it's going to be great quality. I mean, it might, because there's a lot of you out there that feels like you work better under pressure. I'm going to challenge that thinking. I am. I'm going to challenge that thinking because my boss says sometimes you got to slow down to speed up. You got to give yourself time to rest, to rejuvenate, so that you can operate at your highest self. Okay? You need to be in your zone of what? Genius? Exactly. All right. So remember that when we pause, we're making space. We're making space for insight, for softness, for joy. Okay? We give ourselves an opportunity to remember what it is that we love. Why did I do this? Why did I start this in the first place? Why am I here in this profession, teaching this subject for however many years? Why am I doing this? That rest gives you an opportunity to rediscover your own rhythm. So I want you to take this week and truly pause, not to plan, not to prep, not to reorganize your classroom Pinterest board. Just pause, friend. And since we've been holding on to that phrase, failure is feedback, let's sit with that in this season too. Because only you know what success or failure means for you. Not your administration, not your data sheet, not your evaluation score, you. So check in with yourself. What does success mean for you this year? What does failure feel like? And what does it teach you? I know for me, success was I wanted to be able to impact as many students in a positive way as I can, or as I could, right? Past tense, because the year over, right? And the way that I do that is by positively impacting the teachers who are standing before them every day. And I'll say, I think I accomplished my goal. Was it perfect? No. And that's what I could view as failure, right? Because who wouldn't want every single student to be proficient? We all want our students to be successful. But there are just so many variables. There's so many things that are going on. So I can't beat myself up about something that so much of it is out of my control, right? Okay. So, but I do want us to think about the fact that although I'm telling you to rest and I am begging you to rest because you need it, you deserve it, the summer isn't just about rest. It's also about reflection, okay? So we're going to take some time this summer to dig in. We're going to be talking about some different things through August, through the time that school starts back. And I want you to think about how can you expand your definition of success over this time together. That's what I want you to be reflecting on. And I want you to think about how can you recover from what you thought was failure. Okay, so something that I want you to remember is mistakes or things that seem like mistakes grow your brain. Okay, they show you what works and just as importantly, what does not work. And that's valuable, friend. That's data and that's growth. I know people may be on you about hitting certain goals or test scores or evaluation boxes, but please don't define yourself by those numbers. Instead, I want you to think about one small bite-sized shift you can commit to next year. One that helps you flip failure into success on your terms. Or maybe it turns that success up because maybe you're already hitting all of your milestones. So now maybe this takes you to the next level. What is one small bite-sized shift? And listen, even if your results felt like failure, I promise you, there is success in there somewhere. Maybe it was in the relationship that you built. Maybe it was in your or your students' resilience. Maybe it was just in you showing up because maybe the students needed somebody to consistently show up for them and that was you. Okay? That's success. You did more than you think. I see it. And eventually, You will too, or that is my hope at least. I've added a copy of my personal reflection in today's show notes using the journal, and you'll find the journal pages for this episode as well as last week's episode inside the coloring book. You can grab your copy using the link in the show notes or over on the site. Use this book however you need to. You don't have to fill it all in. Just let it hold space for your stillness. Ask yourself, what noise am I releasing this week? What does rest feel like in my body? What boundary will I carry with me into next year to protect this feeling? And when you're ready, I'll meet you back here next week. I'll be joined by Raquel Hopkins for a conversation about what it really means to build capacity as an educator, not just in theory, but in action, okay? It's going to be powerful, and I hope that you will join us. But today, friend, let's focus on today. Give yourself permission to pause. Let go of the noise, let go of the pressure, and let this quiet be a gift to your soul. Until next time, breathe deep, rest well, and know that your capacity starts here. We'll talk soon. That's a wrap for this episode of PD for the Soul. But before you go, don't forget to grab your copy of Season 2's Digital Companion Journal and Coloring Book. It's designed to help you slow down, process what you're hearing, and bring more intention to how you show up in and out of the classroom. Whether you're reflecting poolside or in between PD sessions, this is your space to reset with purpose. And if you want to catch me live this summer, I'll be at Hive in Orlando, Florida from July 14th to 17th, and I'll be facilitating Summer PD in Cumberland County during the last week of July. Ready to learn and you want to learn with me? Come check us out, okay? If you want more details and more soul-fueled support, make sure you're subscribed to the newsletter. You'll get all the updates, resources, and behind-the-scenes looks delivered straight to your inbox. And as always, when you hear something that resonates with you, don't be shy. Share it with a colleague. Take some time to rate us so that you can get us in front of more people so we can share more of what we're doing here together. As always, I appreciate you for taking the time to engage with me, okay? And I hope that you got something from today's episode. Until next time, keep making math happen.